Welcome, Lee. You are invited to an important show here, which is called How to Beat the Recession Heat. Lee is one of the legendaries who have been in the space of project management. He is the founder of PMP, which is a gold standard credential globally. And Lee, you're also owner of Lambert Consulting, which is your own company, right? So over to Lee. Lee, welcome to the channel. I'm so honored to actually host you. It's a dream come true for me to host you on my channel.
Well, I'm very glad to be here. I appreciate the invitation. When I saw the topic, I happen to be kind of recognized for my development of high performance teams. So I thought this is a perfect fit for me to have an opportunity to chat about that.
Fantastically. A quick introduction about your journey. You've been there for ages now, seen multiple recessions. So would like to know about your experience driving large-scale project management guidance to multinational companies. So please do share your brief experience to the audience.
Sure. I started out in this business 55 years in the business project management, 46 years as an active member of PMI. And the thing that attracted me to project management so quickly was the idea that it wasn't all just dependent upon me. It was dependent upon the people I work with and the people that work for me. And so I found out very quickly that teams are what get projects done. So I've been staying with that for a long time. I don't pretend to be the best project manager in the world, but I do know that I can develop teams that get the job done.
Yeah. And you've been the founder of PMP. So what was there in the mind when PMP was founded way back that time in 1984?
Yeah, I get that question a lot, and I joined in 1978. Of course, we didn't start working on the PMP until 1981. And what we did is we discovered in the early years of PMI that we needed something to differentiate our organization from others that do similar things. And there was nothing in the world that was a certification for people who were project management professionals. So we thought, who better to fill that void than the PMI organization? So I was invited in 1981 to be one of the 5 founders of the PMP, and it took us about 3 years to develop that program. It was it might sound easy when you say it fast, but the fact of the matter is there's a lot to be considered when you're formulating what you hope to become the world gold standard in project management. So we didn't go live until 1984. October of 1984, we gave our first exam in Philadelphia, and it's been nothing but success since then.
Fantastic. And now there is a recent news about recession in UK, in Japan, and there is also news that it's going to spread across in multiple parts of the world. Project teams and project managers needs to be more prepared when there is something like recession coming in, right? So, will credentials help them to, handle recessions well?
Well, I think the challenge that we face is the diversity of the people involved in project management and the diversity of the kinds of projects that we have to do. And people still tend to gravitate to thinking that they have to do it all themselves. That they're responsible for it, so therefore they have to do all the work. And one of the things I've always liked about project management is the project manager, frankly, doesn't do a lot of work. He or she gets work done through others, and that way I can multiply my addition to the organization by getting other people to become enthusiastic and active in project management.
So you mean to say that project teams needs to emerge stronger during the downturn? Top project teams have to take ownership.
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't really matter. The same rules apply no matter what the size of the project is. I've managed projects from $300 million a year to $10,000, and the same concepts apply. And I think that that's what people need to understand, that this is not brain surgery. It's a matter of understanding what motivates and inspires people to reach higher levels of performance.
Absolutely, absolutely. How should project managers adjust their leadership style during recessions?
Well, you know, it's tough times right now for project man. I just was reading this morning before we got on about layoffs and reduction in forces around the world. For some reason, it seems to be the economy just now catching up, and I think it's important. I'm doing a program right now on my speaking tour that looks at how to increase productivity and at the same time increase your longevity in project management. And I think that's what people have to do. If you're removed, if you're laid off, there's another spot for you. You just have to be you have to stay enthusiastic about what can be done with project management. I think the end result is higher and better opportunities.
Right. And what is the importance of continuous skill development for project team members during the tough times?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it just seems to me like we put too much emphasis on project management in regards to tools and techniques, when in fact it's the people that get projects done. And if I can develop a cadre of high performing people, they'll find the right tool, they'll use the right technique. But it's a matter of developing those people to where they understand they have a lot of latitude in what they use. I really get bothered sometimes by the emphasis on tools and techniques. A little bit right now with this new AI thing that's coming on strong. Everybody's starting to get excited about AI. You know, AI's been around for a long time. It's not like it's anything new. And so let's not put too much emphasis on what AI is going to do for project management. I think it's a great tool. I think it adds a lot of value, but it doesn't replace people.
Hmm. And you have seen so many recessions, right? And can you share successful initiatives for upskilling project teams during the recessions? Any insight?
Yeah, I've always done my last formal position in a corporate world was vice president of staff and organizational development for the largest contract research organization in the world, and this is where I discovered it's so important to recognize where people are in terms of skill levels. And the R&D people, brilliant as they are, geniuses as they are, were somewhat naive when it comes to how to actually manage a project. And so we started to isolate on strength matrix and look at what the strengths are of these individual people, and then provide them opportunities to strengthen themselves in those areas. Now I also have a feeling that I think sometimes we spend too much time strengthening our weaknesses when in fact we probably ought to be expanding our strengths so that we are taking maximum advantage of the strength that we bring. I mean, if I have to spend 2 months a year making you be a better work breakdown structure developer, and in the meantime, some important scientific research program goes down the tube, then that's probably not a good investment of my time. So we create a skill set matrix, look at not only the skill sets of the individual, but what's going on in the environment. When Agile came in, we had to do that. When AI is coming in, we have to do that so that we can decide where do we have to invest our development dollars to improve the strength of our organization.
Right. It is also called as strengthen the strengths, right? So strengthening the strengths.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
how can organizations foster explicit knowledge sharing amongst the project teams during this time?
Yeah, I think this is such an important. I'm such a team guy. I think that we have to actually carve out time to let our peer group sit together and talk about what the status of the project or the organization is, so that they can exchange that information. I think that knowledge sharing is critical to success. And what I've always said from the very beginning is that mentors are the key to success. I can shorten your learning curve by years by taking advantage of a mentor's experience. Why do I have to experience the pain of mistakes myself when I can learn from those that have made those mistakes already and learn how to avoid them? So mentors, I don't think we still give them enough emphasis. If you'll notice that mentor is a hot topic, we talk about it a lot. But if I go into an organization and say, "Do you have mentors?" and they say, "Oh, yes, we do," but then I find out that they're doing it part time when they have time. I'm talking about mentor as a role in an organization. That's specifically what they do is they help bring people up the learning curve.
So, how much of tacit knowledge should be included in the knowledge sharing compared to explicit knowledge?
Well, I think it depends on the organization. Because every organization, not every, but most organizations have their own way of doing it, so to speak. And I think that people in that organization, while they might be PMPs. I mean, God bless them. I hope they are. But the fact of the matter, that what I tell people in a PMP, because I've been doing it so long, is that they need to understand that earning their PMP, passing that exam, is actually the beginning of their journey, not the end. Many people think that, well, once I get that PMP, then I'm good to go. Well, no, that's not true. What it's saying is you have a level of knowledge that now you have to apply it to the projects that you work on. So I think that's an important differentiation, and not everybody recognizes it, but I mentioned it enough that I hope people understand.
Yeah, spot on. I think PMP is just first level where you're gaining the knowledge and getting certificate. But the main thing is the implementation. Once you implement, you see the results, you further improvise, continuously improvise.
Well, that's exactly right, and I think the other thing that they've done, the PMI has done, is they've built up quite a group of supporting certifications. So if someone is dealing heavily in the risk area, for example, then they can become certified in risk management. And I think it's important for people to understand that there's nothing wrong with getting supporting certification. Now, I'm going to share with you, in the interest of clarity, I only have one certification, PMP. That's the one I have. I think that's the base case. But if I were active in the actual management of projects right now, I'd be looking at risk management. I'd be looking at anything that would add value to what I do by strengthening the general position that PMP validates.
In fact, there is also disciplined agile, value stream consulting, and lot of things. Even PMO GA was acquired, so there's lots being added now. I think it's a huge value which PMI is bringing in. I really appreciate the way PMI has shaped up over years. Right, it's getting more and more matured and moving forward. Very nice. So
Yeah, I've been here through all the directors, all the CEOs of PMI, and I must say that Pierre Lemon seems to really be moving in the right direction. I'm very excited about what I see happening, and it seems like almost every day PMI is rolling out new exciting opportunities for project managers.
yes, yes. In fact, recently I also went through this data landscape with generative AI. Very nicely done program. I even recommended everyone to go for it. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. Go for it. Upgrade your skills. Whatnot.
Well, I think you raised an excellent point because in the early days when we had to come up with PDUs to sustain your certification, there weren't too many people out there offering them, so you had to pay money. You had to pay a lot of money to stay certified. Well, that's just not true anymore. People that say, "Well, I really can't afford PDUs." I said, "Well, then you're not looking in the right place because PMI provides enough free PDUs to keep your certificate forever. You don't have to ever spend another nickel on PDUs. You just have to carefully select the ones that you want to take and get under your belt in terms of knowledge."
Yes. Now, since you have talked about AI, how can technology enhance the project management and collaboration during the tough times? How can technology add value?
Oh, this is such an important issue and such of a when I do I do another program called AI and the Human Factor, and that program points out that while AI is a tremendous addition to the opportunities we have. We have to recognize that without people providing the input, providing the scenarios that they want to look at, AI is really not that big of an advantage. So I spent some time talking about the examples of when I was working on a large contract for the Department of Energy. I had to do forecasting at the end of every month for what the next month and for future months look like. Well, I had to do that with the only tool we had available. This is 1973. The only tools I had available were paper and pencil. And I had to take data and add it and add it and add it and then subtract it and then divide it. And it took days sometimes. This was a multi-million-dollar project. Now I can do that same thing in seconds.
Awesome.
So what AI does for us, most importantly, is it helps speed up the process of developing decision support information.
Yeah, and you are the energy. I know you have always bounced back in your own life. I really get touched when I hear about, okay, you didn't do well and you're not keeping well, and suddenly you came back after several months of recovery and things like that, right? So, what advice would you give to the project team members to when they are feeling demotivated because of the recession pressures and because of layoff? What advice would you give to project teams and project managers?
Yeah, this may be the most important role of a project leader. I'm convinced. I think that most people go through cycles. We're not always up and we're not always down. And when we see an economic impact, we begin to worry. How am I going to survive? Am I going to be able to keep my family in clothes and food? And so pretty soon you have to understand that you're going to spend a lot of time as a project leader as kind of a counselor, trying to help people understand. And one of the things that I point out to them is, well, two things really. One is I've never known anyone, and I'm in the business 55 years. I've never known anyone that was laid off, downsized, right, so whatever you want to call it, that was let go, that didn't end up in a better position when the dust cleared than they had when they started. So in the first place, they think they're devastated on what am I going to do. In the second place, they get excited about new opportunities, and the next thing you know, they're in a position that they wish they'd have had a long time ago. So I spent time talking about that, and that's happened to me, by the way, at one time. And so it was the best thing ever happened to me. In retrospect, you don't think that when it's happening. But the other thing I tell them is look forward. Look forward to what's happening in the future, and then become what I call an early adopter. So right now is a good time for AI because AI is still not being as fully developed as it probably will be. And if you're looking for future opportunities, then becoming a real source in AI is probably a wise move. So you start to look forward and think, well, I'm 2 years ahead of everybody else in the application of AI, so there's going to be positions and opportunities for me to do that. And I've practiced that all my career, and I'm always ahead of the power curve. Now, in this case, AI caught me asleep at the wheel, and I had to start catching up to get on the AI. So you need to anticipate what's in the future. I mean, I did it with earned value. I did it with Agile. You just have to understand you can't sit around waiting for the technology to come to you. You have to go to the technology.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what opportunities do you foresee for project teams post-recession, project managers post-recession, and how do you foresee over the next few months and couple of years down the line for project teams?
Well, I think most people might not agree with me. I think right now is a wonderful time for project management. I think there's more and more emphasis on selecting the best project, meaning the highest impact project, and then implementing the kinds of people on those projects that will get them done. We created a kind of a problem, and I'm going to blame it on senior management just for the heck of it. Senior management tends to authorize more projects than they have resources to deliver. And immediately when a new project manager gets a project, he or she knows, I don't have enough people to do this, but yet they've set a schedule, they've set a budget, and so they're behind the power curve day one. And so I think organizations need to be much more selective in the projects they pick. And then in addition to that, the ones they do pick, they need to prioritize carefully, because that prioritization is what gives me as a project manager the information I need to know how to react, how to deal with getting that done in the time frame based on what I've had made available to me in terms of resources. So I think there's some great opportunities right now. So people that look at the downside need to sort of turn their head around and think there may be opportunities here, because they're going to be looking for people who can get it done, who can make things happen. And those project managers that stay serious about project management are going to be the ones that get it done. And the organization will reward that.
Right, and we have seen a lot of changing roles in between, right? Project manager is also referred to as change leader. There are hybrid projects which are under discussion. And now team members also needs new skills on project management, like CAPM is also evolving. You are seeing business analysis being stressed more and more in the new CAPM format. So do you recommend for project teams as well to take up some credentials like CAPM to get used to the.
Yeah, that's it's a good point. I do think that PMI is beginning to see the emphasis, the importance of CAPM. But I remember when I sold a big contract to Sprint out in Kansas City, and they said, "Well, who do we want to train in project management?" I said, "Well, you want to train everybody that has a role to play in project management. Don't just train the project managers. That doesn't do you any good. Train the people who are supporting the project managers and eventually perhaps thinking about moving into the field of project management." So what we've done with the CAPM is exactly that. We've said, okay, maybe you don't know if you're going to be the project man. Maybe that's not even what you want to be. But the fact of the matter is, the CAPM prepares you to go in a lot of different directions. And so once you get the CAPM under your belt, then you've got a year or two or three to decide, is this really what I want to do, or can I use my skill sets in another way? So the CAPM is now number 2 in the quantity of certifications we have. Now, PMP is so far out in front, 1.5 million PMPs, but there's about 70,000 CAPMs. Well, that's the pipeline. If we create the pipeline of CAPMs, then they make a natural transition into the PMP. And that's what we're hoping. So I would always encourage, you can't demand, but I would encourage anybody that works on projects in a supporting role should be exposed to the CAPM so that they know the language, they know the acronyms, they know the things that are being used. That's one of the things we found with Sprint, is that they didn't understand that it's not just about the project manager, it's about the project team.
In fact, I personally love the way CAPM is structured from PMI, right? I'm also an instructor in CAPM as well. So I really personally love the way it is structured, simplified, and easy for project teams to get used to it. So amazing, amazing. So I see there is a prediction that we need 25 million project managers by 2030. Is that true? Do we really require?
Well, I hope it's true. It's a projection. Some people don't put a lot of stock in Forbes. I think Forbes is one that made the projection. But the fact of the matter is, even if it's only 15 million, that's still quite a few new project managers. So people that are in the business that don't know what they're going to do in the future, I mean, they should start seriously looking at project management. There's no way to get recognition faster than delivering a very sensitive project in an organization. So I think we're on the cusp of a real explosion in the need of project managers. And I think the more we can entice into checking it out and seeing if it's for them by the CAPM or just by exposure, I think the better off we're going to be. You got to remember that the economy of the world really rests on project management. Everything's a project, and if projects fail, the economy fails. And so there's a lot of opportunities here to be a well-known classified project manager that gets things done.
Yeah. And since there is a lot of focus on hybrid projects in the latest curriculum as well, do you think that is going to be the trend, that it's going to be mixed, context-based?
I think it's definitely the trend that you need to think about the word hybrid a little differently than I think it's used. What I mean by hybrid is I'm going to use whatever I need to use to get the job done. So if that's AI, if that's agile, if certain value, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to look at that project. I'm going to determine what the needs of that project will be, and then I'm going to use that. So you're not going to see purity. I don't think you're going to see purity in project management. There's too many options for people to choose, and you got to learn. You got to become skilled in selecting which option is best for that project.
Nice. Will AI eat away project managers' job or project teams' jobs?
Now, say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Will artificial intelligence eat away the jobs of project managers going forward?
Yeah, I think I think what's going to happen is there's going to be some people that become project managers by default. They're the only ones around to do it. But I think generally speaking, in organizations, and again, one of the big problems is matrix. The matrix organization causes a challenge for projects because we have to borrow resources. We don't own the resources all the time. PMOs are trying to help with that. But the cadre of project managers in any one organization, I think, will grow substantially in the coming years.
Mm-hmm. So what keeps you going with the energy which you have, Lee? Because you have a special energy.
Oh, well, what keeps me going is people like you, people that are interested, people who want to reach levels of performance that they're not normally capable of. I think the most enjoyment I get is being able to stand back and watch someone just knock your socks off in project management because we had a chance to talk together or had a chance to do things that help them build their skill set. So no, I'll never stop. I'm 77 and people go, 77, when are you going to retire? I said, hell, I retired in 1984. And I've been since 1984. Pretty much what I do is try to develop people's skill sets. And I don't have any skin in the game. I don't make any money off of it. But I feel so good, so satisfied when I stand back and watch the performance of some of these individuals. It's really amazing.
Yeah, in fact, truly amazing. I would love to meet you one day soon. I don't know when, maybe very soon. I'll meet you either in US or you will meet me in India. But we are going to definitely meet for sure. Yeah.
I would love to do that. I've been doing this world tour, but I really haven't spent much time. I don't think I've spent it. I was in Bangladesh, that's close, but I really haven't spent much time in India. And it's one of the only regions that I haven't, to tell you the truth. And I think it's because it's pretty well developed. India is coming on very strong. Now, and so too is Saudi Arabia. There are some areas that are really coming on fast, but I've got a lot of friends in India. I've got a lot of people that I talk to all the time in India, but I haven't had the opportunity to come there. So hopefully, if I don't come there and meet you, then you meet me in the summits in Los Angeles or wherever you're going to be.
Yeah, I'll be there mostly this time in Los Angeles for sure. So it was great
Good.
having you on this channel, Lee. I would definitely pause this and we'll continue to have a discussion, but I'll pause the recording for now. With your permission, thank you so much. And I'm sure everyone would have enjoyed this particular session
Well,
with.
it's truly my pleasure. I hope that since you've recorded it, I hope we can get some distribution.
Yes,
People can take advantage of it, even if they weren't able to join us this morning.
definitely. Thank you so much.